Evicting a tenant can seem like a complicated process, but in this video we'll quickly explain the eviction laws in Hawaii and outline some simple steps landlords can take to initiate an eviction. First, what is an eviction? Eviction is the process of legally removing a tenant. It's illegal for a landlord to change locks on a property or physically remove a tenant from that property. So if the tenant refuses to leave after violating the terms of a lease agreement, a landlord must seek an eviction from the court. This is different from the simple termination of a lease. A landlord can opt not to renew a lease after the specified term has ended. There is no need to involve a court in this process. In this video, we'll talk about what the eviction process looks like, Hawaii laws that determine how evictions are handled, and how to legally remove a non-compliant tenant from a property. Be sure to watch to the end of this video to find a link to a fillable eviction notice. If a tenant violates the terms of a lease agreement either by failing to pay rent or in some other way, a landlord can send a notice to quit. Different situations will require different versions of this notice. The first option is a 5-day notice to quit, which is used when the tenant fails to pay rent on time. This informs the tenant that if the rent is not paid within 5 days, the landlord will begin the eviction process. A 10-day notice to quit gets used if the tenant has breached the lease in some way not related to paying rent. An example is housing an unauthorized pet. This notice instructs the tenant to either fix the problem within 10 days or face eviction. The 5-day notice to quit can be used by landlords to notify tenants that they have created a nuisance and have 24 hours to resolve the problem or face eviction within 5 days. A nuisance is more serious than other forms of non-compliance. An example per state law is an offense against public health. A 2845 notice to quit is a little different. This form is used to terminate a month-to-month tenancy and can be served by either landlord or tenant. A landlord must give at least 45 days notice, while tenants only have to give 28 days notice of their intent to terminate the lease. If the tenant fails to respond to the notice to quit, the landlord can begin the process of eviction. In Hawaii, this is known as the summary process. The landlord's first step is to file 2 forms known as the complaint and the summons with the county district court where the property is located. The fee for filing these documents is $155. With the complaint and summons, the landlord must file a copy of the lease agreement and also of the notice to quit that was served on the tenant. Both the complaint and summons must be served on the tenant by a process server licensed in the state of Hawaii. The tenant will have a certain amount of time to respond, either 5 days after receipt as specified by the document served. If the tenant doesn't respond, the landlord can obtain a writ of possession from the court, which authorizes a sheriff to have the tenant and the tenant's possessions removed from the property. We've got everything you need to get eviction proceedings going, from eviction notices to court documents, and you can access it all at the link below for free.